Check, 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 to check, check, check. Check, 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 to check, check, check. I should be coming through loud and clear. Froggy Frog, how do I sound out there? Turn it up a little bit. All right, I can do that. I got some wiggle room here. How's that? Better? 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 Huh. You know what? This will help too. Na, 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 na. Hey, how about that? How about that? Oh, yeah. Better? Better, 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 pitter patter, feeder fatter. All right. I gotta close my screen so I don't look at myself. Here we go. Pachow. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my first ever solo live podcast. My name is Dreadlock. I'll be doing this every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. And I will be doing a live jam and DJ set every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, and probably going to throw that one up on Instagram as well. Welcome, welcome. I am very excited to get this started with you guys. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the chat on whichever service you are listening in on, and I will answer them at the end of the podcast. Probably going to be a rather short one. Even though the point of this is there's not really a set amount of time. I'm just going to go off the top of my head and have a conversation with myself to you all, pretty much. Open ended conversation. Um, I think this is a really good practice. I do this for myself. I also do it for you guys. I feel like this is a good practice in communication and kind of a invitation into my mind a little bit. It's not. I share it through music primarily. Um, I know you guys can understand what I mean. Uh, so yeah, let's go ahead and get going. So why I'm doing this podcast is, like I was saying, just to connect with people, especially now while we're all spending lots of time at home alone. I'm sitting in my bedroom pretty much all the time thinking of ways to reach out and to connect with everybody out there. It's a great opportunity for artists to kind of build their online profile, which is something I definitely used to ignore a little bit. I've always been more interested in the live experience, and the energy and the crowds, and that's kind of everything that I've built my career so far around. But the next step, if you want to grow, is the online portal. Whew. Lesson number one: don't forget to breathe. um, but yeah, the online portal is really important. And right now, artists, if you're listening, I'm telling you, this is the time to do anything and everything, random or not. Just keep it fun, be happy, and put it on the internet, because you pretty much are guaranteed to get more engagement than you were, no matter what. There's just so many people online all the time, and they're turning to us for entertainment. And it's kind of a blessing for everyone that follows artists, because now nobody's making money, so nobody's expecting you to pay 30, 40, 20, 10, $5 cover, whatever it is. Nobody's expecting you to pay that for a concert. So you get concerts. I mean, what is the Digital Mirage Fest? I honestly haven't been watching as much as I would like to, because I've been doing a lot of producing stuff for myself. But that is, I mean, that festival would cost you $400, $300, 200 without camping. And now, I mean, not only are thousands, like I saw at one point 80 to 100,000 people watching at one time. Not only is that insanely awesome for the viewers who get to experience that for free, but also these artists are now playing for larger crowds than they could fit in an arena. Like a huge, they're playing for basically crowds the size of a soccer field arena, or like two stadiums. Like Greensboro Coliseum is like 20,000 people. I've seen that completely full. And to think that four times that amount of people were all watching one thing at once online, I mean, that's just completely insane to me. But I think that's really cool. That's the world that we live in. But continuing on from that subject, I think it's also important for us as artists, and pretty much for everyone, just as people, to realize that while it's great that we have this online portal to connect with everyone, this is an opportunity for us to. This is an opportunity for us. I just realized I'm not recording my audio, but that's okay. I'll just start from here. This is an opportunity for us to go within, for us to really focus on ourselves. That's something that I didn't really start doing well until I started making music. I was always very socially dependent, as in I needed to be around somebody all the time. From the time that I was first in Wilmington, pretty much up until I realized the amount of time and energy it takes to really grow a talent. Um, yeah, you spending time alone and focusing on yourself is really, really healthy, and it actually kind of opens your eyes to the type of interactions that you want to be having when you're out with real people, with other people, every real people, versus your imaginary friends that you talk to. Um, coffee, coffee helps. Whatever you're doing, coffee helps, and water. But yeah, this is a time for self reflection. This is a time for mental health awareness. It's a time for you to realize it for yourself, and also when the reality of your own mental health situation starts to come out, when you are forced into your own mind and you're not surrounded by these distractions of the outside world, whether it be you go out every Thursday, Friday, Saturday to have a drink, or you go out every single day to smoke with the boys or the girls or the peoples, whatever. You you don't you don't really have, I mean, you can do whatever you want, of course. I'm not going to get into a whole you should stay home thing. You should. But um without that as such a common thing that everybody is just doing, you really are forced into this situation of, okay, I'm awake. I'm not supposed to go anywhere. I'm not going to go anywhere. What do I do? Um and this is something It's a tough topic for me because I have something. Like I have a very strong passion for music, and I can wake up and realize that I don't have to work, I don't have to go anywhere, and that is like Christmas Day. It's like, wow, you're telling me I can just sit in my room in a box, not talk to anyone for hours and hours and hours. That that's a blessing for me. But it's not necessarily immediately felt as a blessing for everyone. But it is. It definitely is. Whether it's a blessing or it feels like a blessing in disguise, this is your personal reality. This is you and your perception of you. And perception is a really important thing. How you perceive the world, how you perceive yourself, and traveling in groups, kind of, from my personal experience growing up and moving into being in Wilmington before I found music. I've been integrated in a lot of different groups throughout my life. I just have always been moving around and around. I love everyone, but I really started to know myself when I was by myself. Yeah. Okay. So that's enough about being alone, because right now we're having a conversation, and we're not alone. This is my offer to you to come and be in here while I'm wherever. So that's one thing I want to see in the chats is, you see I have this green screen. Where should I go? Right now I'm in, this is like a picture of the inlet in Wilmington. I don't know if it's Mason's Inlet. I don't know what, I found it online. It's just a picture of Wilmington because I really, really miss the beach, the water, the people outside. I do miss it. All of the talk about how I love being alone. I really do miss being in Wilmington with all of my people. And I kept up the name Portal City Podcast for this because Portal City has been a very, very huge part of my growth, especially recently. If you don't know what Portal City is, they are a collective art gallery, used to be a venue that was in sort of a residential area, and one person called the cops on us a lot of times. But I mean, some legendary things happened in that room while it was a venue for the year and some change or whatever it was that it existed. Based out of Wilmington, North Carolina, owned by Alex Lore and Alyssa. It is, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I want to take that energy and that vibe and carry that name with me pretty much forever. I mean, Portal City was originally the name. I don't remember the name of the person he told me who thought of it. I would love to shout them out, but I think Maddie something. I don't know. But Portal City was based around a play on the name Port City. But as I got involved and I started to see it as an opportunity for people to come and experience, a lot of new people to the scene, what music scene. I mean, new people who hadn't really heard a lot of electronic music, or people who listen to a lot of electronic music would show up and see a rap show or a jam band, all sorts of things, just connected music scene. It's like a portal for all of the different types of music that exist in the world to just come through. And it was the location. But for me, what I see now is portals. When you think about them, a portal will have an opening. And then if you go through a portal, you come out another portal that is somewhere else. And so I am planning on moving a lot, lots of traveling, establishing myself in a lot of different locations, experiencing cultures. And I see myself as kind of a portal between every single place that I can go, bringing every experience that I've had with me, and also showing what I'm experiencing to everywhere that I've been. When I think of the I've gone a little deeper on the thoughts of the words that we use in social media and stuff. When you think about followers, I think, okay, so people are watching and following me, so I'm gonna go places and show people things. It makes sense. So yeah, this is the portal, and so right now I'm just floating like in a chair in Wilmington in the sky. But next week I might be in space. I might be like in the mouth of a dinosaur. I might be I could be anywhere. I could be in your bedroom. If you sent me a picture of your bedroom and said use this, I would do it. I'm going to be doing this every Tuesday for the foreseeable future, and maybe even more than that, because I'm having a lot of fun right now. I have no idea how many people are watching. It's I hope everybody that is in here watching this is having as much entertainment as I am, just looking at this camera and I'm talking to myself, talking to you. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about today? I imagine that uh, doing a podcast by myself is something I'm gonna have to get used to. I used to do this with Alex at the portal. We did it 3 times. I say we used to do it, but we did it 3 times, like once a month for 3 months, which is actually a version of consistency. It wasn't the original thought of what consistency was. When I first did the podcast, I did it, posted it in like 2 days, and then for the next like 2 weeks, I was like, we got to do another one. We got to do another one. We got to do another one. And then we didn't. And then X amount of time went by. Boom, did another one. It was great. And then like a month and a half went by before we did the next one. And I'm very hard on myself when it comes to those types of things. I always have this idea of perfect consistency in almost everything that I do. I'm always going for, I make a plan and then I'll say, okay, I'm going to have this, and this done in this amount of time. And then most of the time, it's way, way more than I could do. I mean, it's like assuming that I just drop off all balance in my life and just complete these tasks, which is an absurd thing to consider. That's just not going to happen. There needs to be balance all the time. I have to sleep. I would look at like a 24-hour block period of day and say, well, I'm working for 7 hours today and I gotta, if I work on this song for 8 hours a day, it'll be done in 2 days, and then I'll be able to make 3 songs in a week. Yeah, I really felt that way because I finished one song in 2 days, and at one point told myself I was gonna finish like 6 songs from start to finish in like 2 weeks or something, just because no, that's not how it goes. I think that it's important to kind of stay in the moment with those types of things, with your goals. Have projected but reasonable, achievable goals. So I think long-term goals should be pretty open-ended, because if you have a finite, I mean, obviously there are exceptions here, and need you to understand that all of my thought process on anything that I'm saying is going to be related to my experience and how it happens with my music career. But when I say long term goals should be open ended, is that, you know, I have some venues that I would like to play, but I accept the fact that I am just kind of at the mercy of the world that I live in and the opportunities that come to me. And I've been blessed to have a lot of opportunities so far to be able to prove to me that whether it's how I think it's going to go or it's not, um, opportunities will come. So even though there are specific venues I would love to play in the future, I mean, come on, Dreadlock at Red Rocks, it rhymes. It's gonna happen, hopefully. Um, but I'm more so, my long term goal is just to reach and connect with as many people as I possibly can. Whether that be, it's all gonna stem from music. My whole brain is made of music all the time. So whether it's this type of conversation or me playing a show or me posting a video that has me singing and dancing in it that connects with somebody, that's what I'm going for on a global scale. And that comes from being online, and that's also going to come from traveling. Yes, if anybody is wondering, I know most everybody knows that I'm planning on moving to London. I'm still planning on moving to London. Um, there's nobody knows anything. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to move in London in July or September or January. But to clarify, I have 4 years from this September to get the 2-year degree. So at some point within the next 2 years, my ass is moving to London, and I'm going to be there for 2 years, and I'm going to get a bachelor's degree in sound engineering and music production, no matter what is going on right now with this whole coronavirus thing. I'm not even. My brain wanted to go into the whole coronavirus thing. I feel like it's something everybody talks about enough. If you want to talk about the coronavirus, then that's that's out there. Oh my. Oh man, my laptop is not plugged in. There's a rookie mistake. I'm going to see if I can make that happen without getting off the camera. I'm using my feet. There we go. Pulling out my connection to the chimps. Bam, bam, bam. Look at that. You can't see what I'm doing. I just look like a crazy person, but that's fine. Boom. Now we have power, and at some point my computer won't just die and stop this whole thing, which would have sucked. But you live and you learn. You make mistakes and you learn. That is just how it goes. I mean, when I was making the song that I made about, yeah, I'm plugged in. My dad was checking in on me to make sure I got it plugged in. But I'll definitely be featuring him on a podcast at some point soon, and probably in some videos, and definitely in everything that I do for the foreseeable future, because him and my parents and all my extended family, it's one cool thing about this, is interesting enough. So, I have a lot of extended family, like far. The tree runs deep with the Cape Verdeans and the Irish and my dad's family. I mean, the tree is deep and far. But journey that I've this personal journey that I've been on, finding myself, finding music, and all this focus on myself on the online portal, it has been difficult over years to keep that connection with all of these people that I have love for. And, right now I'm actually seeing them more than I have in a long time, because there's all of this attention on being on Zoom. Every day or every other day, there's a Zoom meeting with however many different people on it. And I really love it, because it reminds me of how lucky I am to have that kind of a support system out there in the world, even though, I don't talk to them every day or every week or sometimes every month. I love all of you that are watching this. I know a lot of you are going to. And that really just brings me up, having that connection to so many people. And I think that has something to do with my goal to want to connect with the entire world. I mean, if I can reach every person on this earth and give them the opportunity to decide whether what I'm doing is something that they resonate with, then that's it. That's the point. Um, so yeah. Um, I think now would be a good time for me to see if there's any questions on here. Aha, any new tunes coming out soon? That's a perfect question because I actually have a new song coming out every Saturday, like for the foreseeable future. um, yeah, it's so weird. I mean, I've been with the Bass Planets that we were throwing, which I miss so dearly. I miss infrasonic sound systems and playing on huge function ones week after week, month after month in all of these cities around North Carolina and South Carolina. I really miss just like shaking a whole room with my sounds too and playing all original sets and being able to bring, I was able to, with the help of all my people, shout out to Kenny, my brother who has been there since the beginning, helping me get all this going. But just being able to get to a point where I can play an all original set. But so quickly, um, I I I've always had an obsession with originality. So even when I was DJing, like the first Bass Planet I did, I had, I believe it was like 40 to 50 songs that I used to either mix into or sample or chop. And then the next Bass Planet that I did was an entirely different set of 60 songs. And then the next Bass Planet I did was an entirely different set of 60 songs. And I told myself that I was going to be the DJ that would, for all of eternity, just have an entirely different, it's like every song that I ever played was one off and that was it. That is another example of a kind of unrealistic goal. I mean that, as, and that came from me wanting to separate from my previous life of being a weekly DJ, where I, shout out to Gideon for kickstarting my entire career. Like, boom, like he said, DJ Mikey, you got this. I need you. You need me. Let's go. And it was, I will always appreciate that period of time where I just played. I mean, at one point it was like 3 or 4 times a week. But from being that type of DJ where there's an expectation to play certain styles of music, where there is an expectation to play, where there's an expectation to play certain songs, when you have people coming up to you saying, yo, you need to play this song, it'll get everybody hype. Like, they know better than me what is supposed to be happening, even though I'm controlling the music. Um, that feeling, pushed me to want to be completely original and have full, powerful energy and control over the crowd every time. So whenever I started throwing the Bass Planets, it was like, no, if you come see me once, you're gonna come see me again, and not a thing is gonna be the same. But that was just my original mind, and then it was like I was over here with people telling me what to play, and then I was like, no, you'll never ever be able to know what I'm gonna play. And then I balanced it into, okay, so being a good DJ is about, you kind of, DJs kind of have, they have songs. I know every DJ knows what I'm talking about because I know whenever you see another DJ play a song that you always play, there's always that feeling of, hey, that's one of my tracks. He's got my energy right now. And it's not a bad thing. That's just being honest as a DJ. When you find a song, you're like, oh man, I've never heard this. Nobody's heard this. I'm about to play this, and then nobody's ever gonna have no. But these other DJs have the same thoughts as well, and a lot of people have similarities in the songs that they play, and that's just a beautiful thing about music. So whenever whenever I started to balance myself, let's be honest with you. I used to drop as many Bass Nectar songs as I damn well pleased every set. That is for sure. I'm sure some people didn't appreciate that. I'm sure some people had some sort of negative opinions toward that. Never came my way, and that's just what I focused on is the feedback that I was getting. People saying, "Man, I love Bass Nectar, and it seems like nobody plays it." And I'm like, I also agree. I go to a million sets, don't hear a lot of his tracks. It's my jams. So here we go with a million acapellas. But either way, that was just kind of my introduction to this whole thing was Bass Nectar. But moving on from that, whenever I started making original music, I realized that was my wave. Whenever I played my own songs live for the first time, even though my first songs were, quality wise, just not. In my opinion, just not anything compared to all of the things that I was playing. Of course, because I'm playing music by producers who have been producing for 5, 10, 20 years now. And so that's just gonna happen. But when I realized that playing these three songs that I had made with myself and with my buddy Troy Yort, fantastic piano player, I realized that I I just found a new type of feeling. I realized that, while I had been loving the originality of picking all of the songs with nobody was telling me what to play. And I was just putting out this powerful energy to create an energy in the crowd that people can ride with. Um, I realized that I could create that from scratch. And then it was on because that was on my birthday of I think like 2018 was when I finished my first produced track. It was May of 2018. And then that December was there was a Dirt Monkey show, and I did my first ever all original set where I another example of me trying to do so much. I had a giant MIDI keyboard and a saxophone and a just because I had these things, I was like, I'm gonna play all these things. And I had a saxophone, didgeridoo, melodica, keyboard or a MIDI keyboard, and I even was singing at that point, which, well, actually, no, I don't think I actually started singing until the following year. I don't know. Who knows? But um, once I did that all original set, 1 hour of original music, I think I've maybe done like 6 DJ sets out of like the 40 sets that I've done that haven't been all originals now. Just because once I'd achieved that, I was like, well, this is it. It's just all originals all the time. And right now where I'm at is I'm now starting to make music that's, I don't want to say timeless, but that keeps up with my progression. So, at first it was like every 3 months, pretty much 4 songs that I had made were discarded. Can't use those anymore because look at this that I just made. And then I fill in the gaps of time with new music because I had to replace things. But then I started to notice that I had songs in my set that I played every time that were like a year old now, and now even more than a year old. And so I'm realizing, hey, at some point, I reached the point where my music is good enough to stand up with my new stuff, even though I'm still outdoing myself all the time. That's just how it goes as a producer. That's how you want it to go. You keep getting better, and it kind of blows me away to think that I just get to keep on trying to get better for all of eternity. And I'm really happy with my sound now, but to think that I get to go to school and learn down to the nitty-gritty, how sound works and how it works professionally and working in a professional studio with professional equipment, to think I haven't even gotten to there yet, and that's a whole nother level of growth. I mean, that's just I'm blown away. And all of us producers are, no matter what opportunities are directly in front of you, the opportunity to grow for the rest of your life is there because we're humans. We're made to learn, we're made to grow, and we're made to continue whatever we're doing. Um, and a lot of people, you know, and if you're, not just for producers now, kind of segueing into another train of thought, you know, it's when I have this conversation when I have this conversation sometimes with people who aren't producers and who aren't artists necessarily, because that's the easiest thing for me to relate to because that's what I am. So it's when people say, well, I don't have a passion and I'm not artistic. Well, regardless of that, you always have the ability to learn something. And not everybody has such concrete proof of that, in that they made songs 2 years ago, then now they make songs and it's like, yeah, I'm better than I was. That makes sense. And that's really honestly that proof, that feeling that you can improve is what drives me forward. And I think that exists in everyone. So let's think about this down to the core, right? As a human being, you were a baby, you were carried, and then at some point your legs were strong enough and you started walking. And now, I mean, granted, nothing's 100%. There are always people with disabilities and stuff that you have to be aware of. There's a balance in every single thing that can be said. This is a generalized statement. But for the most part, babies get bigger. They realize, hey, everybody's walking around on those legs they got. My legs are starting to feel kind of strong. Let's get this going. And you figure out the balance, and then they're like, all right. I'm standing. I'm holding on to like my little truck or whatever I got. I'm standing. Let's do it. And then they say, all right, hold up. Whoa, I'm letting go of the handlebars. I'm standing on my own. Boop, boop, boop. And at some point you start walking. And now, however old you are a professional at walking. Period. Like that right there. And you did that without even, that's natural instinct, right? But it's still a skill. If you never stood up as a baby, you would not be walking. If you never tried to walk, you wouldn't walk, but you did. So if you want to do anything, you just have to try it. And how many times does the babies have to fall down before they can keep standing up and walking again? It's when you stop, that is when progression stops. Trying something over and over and over every single day for a long period of time will eventually lead to some sort of growth. And I mean, every day is an important thing too. Every day is not every couple of days or every day for a week, and then, you go 2 or 3 days without seeing an exponential curve, and you stop for like 2 weeks, and then you try to pick it up again, you're back where you were. Now, getting through the curves that aren't exponential in your growth are what gets you to that point, that feeling like I can do whatever the hell it is I'm trying to do. Whether it's if you're researching something, some specific topic, and you're not understanding, you keep reading, you keep talking to people, asking questions, you're gonna something's gonna click somewhere, no matter what. That is the beautiful part of being a human, the most intelligent life that we are aware of, the most communicative. We live in a time where you can hop in a flying metal thing and go anywhere in the world. We live in a time where we're aware that the entire world exists. That's insane. People used to walk up to the ocean and look at it and say, "Man, that line right there, that's it." And then somebody said, "You know what? I'm going to go see what the hell's going on in that line." And then they kept going, "Oh shit, there's more shit out here." Sorry, not to get too much profanity. But yeah, there is a lot going on out there in the world, and we all have access to all of it. All of it. Everybody's got a portal to the whole world, whether it be your public library or you're blessed to have a computer in your home or whatever it is. And you know what though? That's something else too. I just realized that accessibility is really something that I speak on from being here in the United States, where every city has a public library. This is a first world line of thinking, but we also are very aware of how many people and how many countries there are that don't have that kind of accessibility. But we have the ability to help them, and people do it all the time. I'm not gonna sit here and focus on how there are a lot of struggles in the world, because that's important, but I'm rather thinking about the fact that there are people who accumulate a certain amount of money and fly their butt to wherever and just try to help people. When I was in high school, I was in a youth group with my church, TYM at Blessed Sacrament Church. And we went to the most memorable trip I had. We went to Jamaica. And we went to this place called St. John Bosco's Home for Delinquent Boys, which was their term for kids who don't have anywhere to go, basically. And there was just a giant field of children. And I mean, from age, walking and running age, I don't know if there were babies. Maybe there were some, but to up to 18. And it was just every single day. I mean, they didn't all have their own beds. That's for sure. It was like an old school building that they were all sleeping in. And then every day in the hot Jamaican sun, they were just outside on this one field. And that was their entire world. That was not necessarily all they were aware of, because most of them came from some sort of situation. They weren't just born there. But I mean, to experience that sort of perspective on the world, to experience seeing somebody whose highest moment in their childhood might have been the one time they finally got past the soccer ball and scored a goal. That's a really beautiful thing. And I think that having that type of experience has blessed me to have the kind of mind that I have. And I really want to have that connection with people who need that kind of help, because I mean, if you're listening to this from the United States or from any country with a system in place, no matter how you feel about it, doesn't matter how you feel about it. If there's a system in place, you are blessed because then you have the opportunity to find your own path. It's not just about survival. And I don't think that I think that that's something that we need to recognize, especially when there's so much political. He said this, she said that. I disagree with this side. I disagree with that side. I stay as far away from that. I've been social distancing myself from politics for a long time. I just not. I'm trying not to even get too far into it. But the point is that to count your blessings. You know, we live in a place where we can create our own destinies pretty much. And we also can connect with people who are just trying to survive and create and show them what else exists. And, maybe they can, you know, maybe they can help or I don't know. I don't know. That I don't know exactly where that train of thought was going, but everybody love everybody. That's the main point. I'm going to open this back up and see what else is in here. Okay. I'm scrolling up just a little bit. What's my favorite hot sauce? It's not that hot, but I love the flavor of Texas Pete. It tastes so good to me. Like it's just simple as that. Texas Pete, great flavor. In Atlanta, when I was there for the Sunday Swerve, shout out to the Sunday Swerve, the most professional experience I have ever been a part of. By far inspired. I mean, I hope you guys like this setup. I was up to like 5 a.m. getting this locked in, and it's going to be really cool on Thursday. But I mean, seeing what they got going at the Sunday Swerve really just shot me to realize what just a little bit of focus and consistency can really bring something together. But while I was there, though, I came from hot sauce. But while I was there, what hot sauce? Oh, we found garlic Texas Pete. In certain situations, that's the move. When I do a little dab of Texas Pete, on my boiled eggs, I like the regular one, but if I'm putting Texas Pete like all over something, the garlic is a nice touch. Okay. Can you tell us how you found your style/sound? My 5-year-old is watching with me, and he says, "Mom, he's the one with the saxophone. He likes your style and your banana." So yeah, wow. So the banana is the banana runs deeper than I even realized when I made the decision to do it. Honestly the decision to have my friend Lousy make the banana for me I didn't even play other instruments. It was just the ukulele, and I was wearing a banana suit while I DJ'd every so often, and that was pretty much it. But when I think about it, it's like, why was I always wearing a banana costume? Like a lot of my favorite experiences of being at shows or at festivals, I wore bananas. I didn't even like the taste of bananas growing up. I didn't eat them at all, but I started eating them. I think some point when I was in Wilmington. But then it goes all the way back, okay, to when I was in 6th grade at Blessed Sacrament, and I was in the talent show, and there is this. We used to pull up game websites on the computers during computer class. It's not a secret anymore. And they got firewalls and stuff now, so don't even worry about it. But there was this game website called Game Sloth, and I was scrolling through random games, and I click on this thing, and it said peanut butter jelly time. And this was like, I mean, it was just on a game. I thought I was gonna play a online game called Peanut Butter Jelly Time, and then I click on it, and the banana, the banana that you see that's just going like that. That thing just goes and is moving all around the screen. And that song, I don't know, peanut butter jelly time, where you at, where you at? So that, I don't know why I like that so much. I think that I could see somehow my future energy in this banana when I was like 12 years old or whatever. But from that actually stemmed the first time that I ever created a experience on stage, because I created a skit, a little comedy. Well, it was gonna be a dance. I was planning on just holding peanut butter and jelly and just dancing randomly, and then I realized that, um, I shouldn't do that because I wasn't like, I can move to a beat, but I'm no like choreographed dancer or whatever. And then I made it into a whole skit where I started dancing with it. But it was just a comedy skit of me making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And there was like, I had my friend come in and I like pulled the knife on him. People were like trying to steal my sandwich and stuff. And that, when I think about it, that was the first time that I felt, well, actually, it was the first time I had the lesson of, having, the first time I had the lesson of, keep it clean, I guess, like, because we did a practice run for just the middle school, and it was awful. Like the older kids, didn't think it was that hilarious, the stupid stuff that I was doing. And I was like slapping peanut butter and jelly on the bread, and then at one point I was supposed to throw it, and then I threw it and it just like came apart. It was a train wreck. But then we went and we got it all, we got it, and I had like a pre-made one that had been smushed and like refrigerated so that when I made it I could just pull that one out and then throw it. And I learned my lesson. But then when we did it for the whole school, for the kids, I mean, like from preschool to fifth grade, I mean, they just erupted and they loved it. And that energy, I think that was like the beginning of me realizing my place as somebody in like performing, basically. I mean, at one point it was in choir, and I thought I was going to be in a choir or in maybe plays. Yeah, I never acted that much, but I like the singing aspect. I like the singing aspect up until one day in church, somebody standing next to me said, "Hey, man, I know you really like singing, but you're not really that good at it." And that just like shut me down, and I gave up my dreams of of singing. But then like last year or whatever, I wrote my song Not a Rasta, and I sang it, and I decided that whatever level of singing I had was good enough. And then just like everything else, I practiced it, and now I'm better than I was. I'm not the best, but who cares? If I got a message, I'm gonna sing it. But yeah, that's where the banana comes from. Yeah, Kenny, I did buy a banana costume for Halloween. That was there was man, there was like more than one banana costume that I've bought too. But that Halloween trip was really fun. We went to Charleston and saw two different concerts, Grizz in like a cafeteria or whatever. It was insane. But yeah, so that is where the banana come from. But my sound is just, I mean, it just developed. So I originally had the thought that I was going to create ukulele step. I was like, I'm going to bridge the ukulele into the dubstep stuff that I like, and it's all going to be reggae influence. This was before I actually finished anything. I thought I was gonna fit into a certain box, um, and I mean it's just been a development over time. So I played I played guitar a little bit growing up, not a ton. Like I got pretty basically good at it. I took guitar in high school, like guitar one, but I had already learned everything in that class, so it didn't really push me because I had taken guitar lessons, and I never really got beyond like the beginner, you know. Here are the basic major and minor chords in the first position. And I learned like one pentatonic scale, I think, one position of a pentatonic scale, and that was it. But then, you know, the ukulele was the first thing that I learned that I realized, all right, all right, I can get good at things if I apply myself. And then from there, you know, the ukulele, I thought the ukulele was it. I was like, I was going to a lot of reggae shows, and this festival called Cali Roots was my first really memorable concert experience. They came to Wilmington in October, the first couple months that I was living there, and that experience just completely opened my eyes um, to what I love, which is being here. I mean, I learned that day that no matter what I did, it was going to involve live music, and I thought it was going to be working behind the scenes and playing my ukulele and maybe joining a band or maybe being a solo ukulele act. Um, I mean, it really all started with the ukulele, and then um, and then when I started DJing, so the first party I ever DJ'd at, my ukulele at the time got stolen. And so I just took it up as all right, I guess, I guess this DJing thing is gonna be the thing for now. And then I got a well, and then I borrowed I had already I had bought a saxophone, like started paying monthly payments on a saxophone and had it. And then I never learned how to play it. And then at some point while DJing, I decided to trade my saxophone for like a temporary trade with Will Dean, the man. Traded him my saxophone for his ukulele so I could start including it in my DJ stuff. And then after a few months, I got the saxophone back and I started teaching myself that again. I learned that brief. I learned the saxophone briefly in like eighth grade. We had one guy come for like 6 months to our school and did a band. It was like me and I mean one other saxophone player, a flute player, and my friend on the drums. Maybe I mean there couldn't have been more than 10 people in the whole band that we. I mean it was just band class that we were doing. Um, but I kind of honed in on the sax this way later, like within the last year or two. I kind of I realized that I had some of the mechanics already, just like barely a little bit. See, little things in my whole past when I reflect on it, it really just like I had little bursts of inspiration into what I am now. And then I realized that and kind of honed in on it. So I taught myself the saxophone, or at least as much as I know now. I don't know the whole thing. But that's something that I'm working on now during this time while I'm alone, is kind of trying to really solidify my understanding of the instruments that I play. Um, yeah, so that's how the instruments kind of came in, and then when I first started producing, so I finished my first track in May, but that Christmas I got Serum, which is a sound design software that you use with Ableton, which is the music making software. And so well, at first I would just make you know don't cancel my stuff Ableton. I bought Able I mean, well, I didn't buy it, it was gifted to me by my family. But um I have the full version now, but I used to just every month, do they had 30-day free trial of Ableton, which is like the main software that you use to make music, or that I use. There's a lot of options, but um, I would make a new email and get another 30-day trial. And then one time, I didn't want to do that again because I didn't want to like lose the stuff I had saved. So I just called Ableton and I was like, "Hey, I need another 30-day trial. I'm planning on buying it as soon as I can," and they did it. So by the way, if you ever have an Ableton free trial and you call them and you just say, "I fully intend on buying it, but I don't have the cash right now. Can you please hook me up with with an extension?" They'll just do it. Very nice, very great company, Ableton. Um, but anyway, I I was using the free trial of Ableton because again, I was obsessed with the idea of originality. So when I first started making music, it was like I'm going to make every single sound in my set is going to be made from scratch by me. So I spent the first few months like through like the first couple months only doing sound design. And when I say only, I mean I'm talking kick, snare, serum. That's it. It was like, how am I gonna make sounds? And I just kept trying and trying and trying until eventually I decided, all right, I want to make a song, and I like record. Went to my friend Chase Johansson, by the way, one of the most like talented people I've ever come across. So blessed to have had him be a part of my early journey because he inspired me to get nice equipment to use, because that's what I mean. I would just go to his house, and in his bedroom he would have all of this stuff, and we could just do so much, and we would record things, and I was like playing my note of my ukulele and turning knobs and recording that sound. And that was how the first song of mine came to, was just experimenting with sounds and also using my own, sound that I had developed. And as time goes on, I just keep on expanding the types of sounds that I make. So at first it was like I make all my own basses and I synthesize everything else. And then, I started making, or no, it's not synthesize is make, but then I use samples for everything else. And then I started making my own risers. And now I don't even know what the hell I'm making, honestly. I make all kinds of I make like random perk things. I make little squeaky things. I make whatever the heck is going on in my music for the most part, besides the drums. I haven't really sat down and gone through the process of making a kick drum. Um, I'm really happy with the kick drums that I use. So I'm not really in any rush to, learn how to make something that exists, I guess. It's like, if I want to play a guitar, I would just play a guitar. And if I want to play my ukulele, I don't synthesize those things. So I kind of feel like that's kind of how I am about drums. And then I make other sounds that are like drums, but my kick, my snare, and the snare will probably be the first thing that I'll synthesize of the drums, because that is something that can a snare doesn't always have to be a snare. Like a kick is pretty much always gonna go, like it's gonna be a kick. Um, but a snare, there's a lot of wiggle room with that. I do a lot of layering with I mean, the randomest, the most random things, like from vocal things to whatever. Just one thing, producers, go ahead and try like everything doesn't have to be what it's called. Like your hi hat can be a hi hat mixed with like a clap that you've smushed together and EQ'd all the lows out of and stuck over your hi hat just to make it fuller. And then you just randomly layer things together to make them, and see what comes up. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much how I developed my sound. And I think I've been on here for an hour. And I think that is enough time. Let's see if there's any like quick questions that I can answer. Nope. And I'm glad, I if you're still watching this, Kayla, I apologize for the profanity. If you are a child, don't pick up profanity as a habit. I use it to accent my feelings and it comes naturally. But part of recording myself in front of a live audience is checking myself on that. And I probably use less profanity during this entire broadcast than I have in most conversations that I was having just out and about living amongst my people. So, and that's a habit that I don't really like because it's definitely unnecessary. And those words, while they can accent a feeling, they don't need to. You can achieve the same sort of effect with non-offensive words. So yeah, I really that's something I've thought about that a lot too. There's going to be a whole censored side to this project too. Some sort of like kids music album of some sort is definitely going to exist, and that sort of thing. Because I mean, the little ones, they're gonna run the world at some point. When I'm old, they're gonna be they're gonna be running the system that I am just kind of flowing through. So yeah, so that is that. Well, that was an incredibly fun time. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, my name is Mikey, but I perform and make the project Dreadlock. You can follow me on Twitch well, you can follow me on any social media: Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my SoundCloud. Those are all at Dreadlock Vibes. Dredlok is how I spell my name. And I'll be doing this every Tuesday at 12 p.m. The idea is that whenever we get back to the real world, I'll be able to the real world. It is the real world all the time. Um, but whenever we get back to somewhat similar of our normal existence, and we have people working more consistently. This can be like a little lunchtime, break. You can listen to me talk about stuff. And then Thursdays at 7 p.m., the idea is that, I'll start things off with a live jam that will fade into a DJ set of some sort. And to all my producer friends out there, I'm looking, you know, I used to, I'm trying to use this weekly opportunity to get back into my practice of being a true DJ again and to look for music and to play music that's not mine because I'm not going to play my all originals every week. That would be it would just start to get repetitive. I don't have hundreds of songs. Now, come see me in 5 years and I will have a lot of songs to pick from, and I can play an all original set one week and then an all original set that's entirely different. But that's just part of my goals. But yeah, I'm definitely Thursdays at 7 p.m. are going to be an opportunity for me to showcase music by my friends, and yeah, that's pretty much the point and mixing it in ways, hopefully my friends will hear their music in a way that they haven't before. I'm all about the samples, so it's gonna be fun. But thank you everyone for tuning in to my first solo live podcast. This will be up on YouTube, and some of the audio I didn't record the whole thing, but some of the audio will be available on like my SoundCloud, and I actually have a Portal City podcast page on Spotify as well, and Anchor. If anybody uses Anchor, but Anchor distribute, I gotta check and see what platforms my podcasts are on because I don't even know. I just know Spotify and Anchor, but I think it might even be on Apple Podcast stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you everyone for tuning in. I will be back online on Thursday.